15, verse 11, and ask this question. Does Romans 15:11 authorize hand clapping in worship? This has actually been argued to suggest that clapping while singing has as its purpose to laud or praise God. Romans 15:11 says, "Praise the Lord, all you Gentiles, laud Him, all you peoples." It's been suggested that the word laud is the concept, or at least it includes the concept, of applaud. Well, when one examines this matter as a matter of fact, the English word laud comes from the Latin word laudere, which is present active infinitive of laudo, which means to praise. The English word applaud comes from the Latin word applaudere, which is from plaudo or plaudere, which means to strike, beat, or clap. Consequently, the word laud in Romans 15 and the word applaud are separate and distinct terms. They are not the same. Interestingly enough, if one were to consult English translations of Romans 15:11, one would find that no known English translation translates Romans 15:11 with the word clap. So those who advocate such a meaning apparently think they know more than the hundreds of Greek scholars who produced all of these English translations. I guess they all missed it, if in fact Romans 15:11 is intended to advocate clapping in worship. Interestingly enough, the English laud, if you look at that word in the original Greek as Paul wrote it, it comes from eponeo. That word means to praise or commend, not applaud, not clap. It's used, for example, in Luke 16:8, where it's translated commended. It's used several times, 4 times in 1 Corinthians 11, where it's translated praise. But what we also need to do is look back at Romans 15:11 and recognize Paul there is actually quoting the Old Testament. He's quoting Psalm 117, verse 1. So you have to go back to the Hebrew in order to see the original Hebrew word that underlies the Greek, which then underlies our English. That Hebrew word in Psalm 117, verse 1 is Shabbat. Guess what it means? To clap? Oh no. It means to praise or commend. You see, the Hebrew language had other words for clapping. Takah in Nahum 3:19, Saphach in Job 27:23, Nakah in 2 Kings 11, verse 12. There's Makah in Psalm 98, verse 8. You know, since the Bible's its own best interpreter, it's easy to settle this matter by going to Psalm 63, verse 3, where Shabbat is used. Here's the passage. Because your loving kindness is better than life, my lips shall Shabbat you. Translations render that praise you. But if it means clap, that conjures up an interesting picture. My lips shall clap you. I'd like to see a physical illustration of that. Well, in reality, hand clapping is a secular response to entertainment. It shows the extent to which we have been influenced by the world. It is a worldly, fleshly, non-spiritual practice. Let's not forget how the Bible authorizes. We must interpret the Bible by reading what God has told us to do. We must refrain from doing anything that God has not told us to do. So remaining silent where the Bible is silent means not doing anything that God has not told us to do. If God has not told us to do something, we have no right to do it. Not because God did not forbid it, but because God did not. Be reminded, read often these verses. 1 Corinthians 4:6, beyond what is written. 2 John 9, whoever goes ahead does not abide in the doctrine of Christ does not have God. Colossians 3:17, whatever you do, word of doing, in the name of the Lord Jesus. What about Matthew 21, that question that was asked? By what authority are you doing these things, and who gave you this authority? And Jesus responded in verse 25, well, the baptism of John, was that from heaven or was that from men? You know what the solution is? Let us love God enough to do what he says. 1 John 5:1. Let us find contentment in God's instructions for worship. Let us purge from our appetites our own generosity. And let us bow humbly before Him. As we worship in spirit.
The army of the thousands will rise against us. You dare!
This seminar on pleasing God in worship. You will want to read the book, Planting the Strength. This volume will have a great deal of additional not included, including discussions of many other changes in worship and the church.
And Taurus to be reborn.
Also available is a booklet titled Surrendering to His
Sargeras
Lordship,
does not take
which
kindly
explores
to
the
failure.
principles inherent in divinely authorized worship. And consider acquiring the book Richland Hills and Instrumental Music. To obtain a free downloadable copy of this latter book, along with numerous free articles, and to purchase the other two recommended books, visit apologeticspress.org or call 800-234-8558.
I think most of us today are aware of the fact that young people have some very special problems and very special challenges. A lot of people are always concerned that about whether the young people really need to